This is vlog number 3 of my road trip, and right now I'm in Kansas, driving through Kansas. Flat prairie land. Not too much going on. So, like always, I'm thinking. Well, we're all thinking at all times, but I'm thinking about some fascinating topics. And one thing I've been not so much thinking about, but actually doing while I'm driving, and I just want to relay what I'm doing because this could benefit people, is stretching. So whenever I stop, which is like every 2 hours or so, because sitting for long periods of time is pretty taxing on the body, and there's a lot of science and evidence backing up how bad sitting is. You have the expression, sitting is the new smoking. So everyone knows it's not good to sit for long periods of time. But if you just get up for a minute or so, like every hour-ish, well, I do like maybe every hour and a half, 2 hours while I'm driving. If you just do that, it's so much better for you than just sitting. And what I do is I'll stop like every 2 hours and I'll stretch. So I'll do various stretches, and I'll concentrate on 2 areas of my body, and this probably applies to most people. The 2 areas of your body that gets most tense when you're driving are the hip region and the shoulder, upper back, neck region, like around here, and the shoulders too. With me, those get super tense while I'm driving, because your hips, obviously, you're sitting on them. It's like the same thing with sitting in a chair for long periods of time. Hips get tight. But with like your shoulders and upper back, you're gripping the steering wheel, you're like leaning forward maybe, you're looking like this, and there's tension there because you have to be in a state of hyper alertness while driving. Like right now, I'm switching lanes. So you can't just be like completely relaxed while driving. You have to be alert or else you'll crash. So that contributes to the tension. So there's the tension that comes along with just sitting, and then there's the tension that comes along with hyper alertness. So you have to be proactive about releasing that tension. So I do hip stretches, various hip stretches and hip mobility stretches when I stop. And one of them is just stand on one leg and hug one of your knees towards your chest or your abdomen, and then switch legs and hold it for like 10 seconds, something like that. And before, I was doing this on a picnic table. I saw a picnic table, so I would just rest one of my legs on top of the picnic table and turn a little bit, so I was getting a good stretch, and I like checked my phone while I was doing it. So I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, even though I was caught in distraction a little bit doing that. And so yeah, stop every once in a while and stretch out your hips and your shoulders to release that tension. Otherwise, you're going to be super tense, and that leads to injury and downstream problems if you do that kind of stuff on a regular basis. So I'm building the habit of counteracting that whenever it's present. So stretching on road trips is pretty important, especially if you care about your health and your body. And the other thing I want to talk about, this is more philosophical, and I don't want to get too political with it, but I'll just say it. Like, seeing the just expansiveness and the diversity of the United States really puts things into perspective. Especially in the Midwest, things are so spread out, and it's so different than like the Northeast, because I've spent most of my life living in the Northeast, and the Northeast is more condensed, and the landscapes are different, the topography is different kinds of plants and all things like that, and the people are different. And then the Midwest it's like a different world in many, many ways, and driving through it really puts it into perspective. And I've always known this, and I've even driven through some states. Like, I've driven to Missouri before from the East Coast. But it's really creating an understanding within me right now about how diverse it is on every level, the United States. So how can such a diverse, expansive country because it's gigantic. Like, I'm driving 6 hours through Kansas today. It's crazy. Just Kansas. So how can all of that be under the same dominion, under the same one government? How can the policies that come out of one government apply to all of these places that are so different? Like New Jersey. I was born in New Jersey. I'm going through Kansas right now. These places are so different, it's ridiculous. And the people are very different too. So how can they be under the same policies? So to have one overarching government that applies to places that are so different and so unique, it really doesn't make sense in my opinion. And that's why I agree with more local structures, because it's more applicable to what's going on. It's like, I'll just make up this metaphor on the spot. It's like one person is very mathematically inclined, let's say, and one person is like an athlete, okay? So you have like a chalkboard physicist type person, and then you have an athlete. So think of those two people. How are you going to make policies that ensure the greatest good for both of those people? Because both of those people are going to need completely different things to thrive, completely different scenarios, completely different everything, different routines in their day, different priorities. And if they were to give each other advice, it really wouldn't work. So the mathematician or the physicist wouldn't know what's best for the athlete, assuming that that's their focus, and the athlete probably wouldn't know what's best for the physicist. And the same policies wouldn't be to the best interest of both. So you can't have one overarching system with a diverse array of people and places. That's my opinion. So that's why I agree with more local structures, because it's going to be more directly applicable, and they will know what's best for the people. And like I said, I don't want to get too into politics, because I also think that we're essentially not meant to be governed. Not in the sense that it's happening right now. Like, humans, we're meant for more of an egalitarian structure where everyone contributes to decision making and everyone is empowered in their own right, instead of everyone being sheep that get herded by one person telling everyone what to do, or a small group of people telling everyone what to do. Like, I personally want to make my own decisions. I'm a free person, I'm a free being, and I don't think anyone else should tell me what I can and can't do, what I can and can't put into my body. And that's operating under one assumption, and that is you're not causing harm to others. So that's more of a libertarian viewpoint. So you can do whatever you want with your body. If you're stupid enough to like smoke crystal meth, that's your problem. But if you smoke crystal meth and start beating someone up, then it becomes a bigger problem, and you need to put it in your place because you're causing harm to others. So that's more of my mentality regarding political structures and things like that. We need less government because, well, the fundamental assumption is that the fundamental assumption with governments that have a lot of laws and that are more powerful, let's just say, have more control over people. The fundamental assumption there is that people are inherently bad and can't be trusted. So then you need to tell them what to do and put them in their place. But I think that humans are inherently good and smart too, and therefore have to be trusted. So I think every individual needs to be trusted. And then, of course, you have a scenario that we're seeing today where many people are disempowered, many people are in not ideal states, and it's because of the structure, because we live in forced limitation, a monetary system that funnels wealth into the hands of a few, an education system that's utterly failing, and just a disempowered mentality and a culture that's distracted with celebrity gossip and things like that instead of actually doing stuff for yourself. So all of that are contributing to people not really stepping into their full potential. And then you have things like McDonald's and people drinking soda all day, and that just wrecks your body and makes you dumber, essentially. So, yeah. But those are, in my opinion, outgrowths and byproducts of this disharmonious system that has too much control over people, or because the control is really illusory, because you have to accept the control in order for it to exist. And that's another philosophical conundrum, because we really have the control as individuals, but you have to accept control from someone else in order for their control to be over you. So I don't want to ramble too much. Those are the two main points. So one is stretching on road trips. It's crucial. It helps. It'll make you feel better. And you're not going to take that much time off of your trip if you stop for 5 minutes every couple hours, you know? And the other one is the diversity, the mind-blowing diversity of the United States. And it needs to be taken into account, because people are so different. The places are so different. The geography is so different. The land is so different. So really, how could the same one sweeping policy apply to everything? It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I hope you got something out of this. I hope I at least got you thinking. And, yeah, I'm going to keep driving through Kansas, alright? Peace, peace, much love, and one love.